All right, good morning, folks. My name is Hitzemann, County Court Judge here in Hernando County. You folks are here for your first appearance. The purpose of the first appearance is so that you may be informed of the charges against you. I'll determine if there's probable cause for those charges. Probable cause simply means that it's more likely than not that a crime was committed, and more likely than not that you're the person who committed the crime. Of course, as you stand before me this morning, I presume that you're innocent of those charges. That presumption of innocence will stay with you through every stage of the proceedings unless and until the State Attorney's Office can prove the allegations against you beyond and to the exclusion of a reasonable doubt. We'll set your conditions of pretrial release, that is your bail or your bond. In most cases, you've had a bond set already pursuant to the bond schedule here in the 5th Judicial Circuit of a warrant which led to your arrest. I'll determine if that bond should be raised or lowered or left the same, or whether there'll be additional conditions of pretrial release placed upon you. We'll let you know when your next court date is. If you'd like to have the services of the PD, I'll happily appoint the PD to represent you. You have an absolute right to contact folks on the outside, family, friends, counsel. If you haven't been able to make that call, please let me know. We'll make sure that that happens. Finally, and most importantly, you're advised that you do have an absolute right to remain silent with regard to the facts which surround your arrest. We encourage you to do that. These proceedings are recorded. In addition, there is an assistant state attorney in the courtroom with me. If you say something that tends to incriminate you, they will use it against you in the prosecution down the road. And I need each and every one of you there at the jail to please raise your right hands and be sworn. You all solemnly swear, affirm, tell the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth. Outstanding. When you hear your name called, please come to the podium. But first, Mr. Hobson, I got you hanging out in the back. You got a plea for me?
I have a plea, Your Honor. I'm here on the matter of this.
Okay. Oh, on first appearance?
Yes, sir.
Okay, who do you got?
Your Honor, I represent Kenny Breeding.
Okay. Mr. Breeding, Kenny Breeding.
Morning, Ron.
Morning.
Morning.
All right, and let me get that. Mr. Breeding is here on a warrant signed by Judge Heineman. Judge Heineman found probable cause for 12 counts of possession of child pornography. And State, what can you tell me?
Mr. Breeding has two other open cases that are all kind of connected in a line of hidden cameras inside people's homes.
Okay.
Got a bunch of voyeurism charges pending, oral communication capture charges.
Okay.
And he's probably looking at charges in another county for production of his child pornography.
Okay.
We asked for an extended bond.
If I may, Your Honor.
Yep.
Yeah.
Your Honor, an incident occurred in, I'm going to say, June of 2018. My client's house was searched questionably, and all these charges are emanating from that. He is arrested. He bonds out once. He bonds out. He gets rearrested again, and on drug charges, which the state ultimately drops. Last night, while he's taking a shower, no fewer than 12 uniformed employee sheriffs surrounded his house, blowing blow horns and all, and take him into custody again. He has bonded out on the charges at bar that the assistant state attorney alluded to. These are 12 new charges. Judge, he's already out on bond. It's a tremendous financial sacrifice on the family. I don't know if the state is just reacting to his status, but I know it's unusual, Judge. I would ask the court to consider releasing him on these 12 charges and counting the bond that he's posted on the others to bind him over, so to speak, for trial. He's going to appear. He's not going to go anywhere.
Okay.
And may I say one other thing, Judge? Mm-hmm. The so-called child porn, which, of course, has a kryptonite aura to it, is taken off the computer. I don't know anything about it. This representation by the assistant state attorney that, well, there are going to be production charges filed in another county, I think are aspirational at this point and aren't necessarily based on anything. So I'd ask the court to consider that in terms of determining whether there's, in fact, probable cause. Because, as the court knows, there's child porn and there's child porn.
Okay. Well, the determination of probable cause was made by Judge Heineman when he signed the warrant, so I'm not revisiting that. I trust him to do that, and I understand the difficulties that it might cost for Mr. Breeding, but I'm going to leave the bonds per the warrant, which is $2,000 on each of the 12 counts. That's $24,000. Looks like he's been on GPS in the past. He'll be on GPS on this as well. We'll have this back on the 17th of September, which apparently is where his other cases are.
The court can at least reduce the bonds, Judge?
I'm not going to, no.
Understood. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Yep. Great. Melissa Churchfield. Melissa, what's your date of birth?
8/31/86.
Melissa, I got a warrant for you out of Sumter County. The judge had signed the warrant, found probable cause for a violation of probation. It says your bond at no bond. I can't change that. We will let Sumter know you're here and ready to go. I'll give them 5 days to come get you. If you're still, it won't take 5 with Sumter, but if for some strange reason you were still here in 5 days, they'd bring you back to see me and I'd find out what the problem is, all right?
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Rachel Keegan. Incoming, sorry. Morning, Ms. Keegan, what's your date of birth?
12/17/76.
Rachel, you're here on a warrant signed by Judge Toner. He found probable cause for violation of probation. As to that charge, you want to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like the public defender?
I can represent myself. We can resolve it today.
That is not going to happen. This is a felony
Okay.
BOP, so you got to go
Then I'll
back
need-
to court.
Sorry. Yeah, I'll need a public defender then.
Good. I'll point the PD. Bond on the warrant is no bond. I can't change that. I'll send you back to see Judge Toner on the 31st of August. They told you September 4th. It'll be August 31st. PD will
Okay.
come see you before then, okay?
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Angelica McQuaid. Want to miss what's your date of birth?
8/2/92.
Angelica, you're here on a charge of driving on a suspended license. There's probable cause for the charge. As to that charge, you want to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like me to appoint the public defender?
Represent myself.
Okay, speak.
I have a driver record for me this morning, but in 2014, also code upon the conviction, ESP conviction, 2014 grand theft, withhold, 2015 violator of probation, 2016 FTAs, 2017 criminal registration, and back in June of this year, grand theft auto, which was dropped. We have some out-of-state stuff that's been taken from that this morning.
Ms. McQuaid, I have an address. I don't have an address for you. Where have you been staying lately? Wait, Old Oak Trail, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. How long have you been there?
About 10 years maybe.
Okay. Do you have a job these days?
No, sir, I do not. As you can see, I was arrested about a month and a half ago. So that, kind of lost my job there.
Okay.
So I'm in between jobs right now.
Okay, that's fine. Melissa, I'm going to set your bond at $1,000. I'll have you back in court on September 4th. If you change your mind about a lawyer, you can always stop by the public defender's office here in Brooksville and fill out the paperwork and get yourself a lawyer, all right?
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
That's
Justine Pace.
Judge, what was the place, court date?
9-4.
Thank you.
Ms. Pace, date of birth?
2/16/88.
All right, Ms. Pace, I have four charges this morning. I have a petty theft, a driving on a suspended license, operating an unregistered vehicle, and attaching a tag on a sign. There's probable cause for those charges. As to those charges, you want to represent yourself, you want to hire private counsel, or would you like the public defender?
Public defender, please.
I'll appoint the PD. Speak.
2010, possession of fraudulent withhold and paraphernalia. 2011, controlled substance by fraud, withhold, FTA 2015 and 2017, times 2. Not sure what the underlying are. Took a bad check of some sort that was dropped last year. Tom shows that.
Thank you. All right. And Ms. Pace, I have an address for you on Gatewood Ave in Spring Hill. Is that where you live?
Yes.
How long have you been there?
All my life.
All right. You have a job these days?
Not right now.
On the theft, the suspended license, and the unregistered vehicle, I'll set the bond at $500 each, $250 on attaching a tag, because that's what the trooper put it at, so that's a total of $1,750. We'll have you back in court on the 5th of September. Very important that you contact the public defender if you get out, all right?
Okay, thank you.
Melissa Ryan. Morning, Ms. Ryan, what's your date of birth?
10/23/73.
Okay. State, did you read this one?
I'm good.
Okay, give it. It's very quick. It's a very quick read. Also, there's two charges this morning, possession of methamphetamine, possession of drug paraphernalia.
Yes, sir.
Not seen an issue, Judge.
Okay, I'm not seeing any field test.
We have an admission
Of a pipe.
of it.
It's not,
You're right, Judge, that is missing.
yeah. I believe that it is what they say it is,
Yes, sir.
but it's not in there. Does she have any significant history?
Yes, right. Either 1995 FTA, 1996 grand theft DSP, a withhold 2001 DV, strap 2005 DV, felony DV, withhold on all three, 2005 FTA, 2006 criminal registration, 2014 grand theft times 2 conviction, 2015 distribution of cannabis and paraphernalia, full trap 2015 FTA, 16 controlled substance and paraphernalia, and that's all I can confirm this morning.
Okay. I guess here's what I'm going to do. Ms. Ryan, I'm going to find for this morning that there's not probable cause for those charges. I will tell you that is not the most exciting news in the world for you, other than it means you're going to get out of jail today being released on your own recognizance. The only reason there isn't probable cause is because the trooper didn't field test the pipe or the drugs that he found. I'm sure that he confiscated those things and took them into evidence, and they're going to test them, and if they test positive for meth, then you're going to get charged. The only person here today that knows whether they're going to test positive for meth is you. So I'm going to go, if you'd like a lawyer on this case, I would happily appoint an attorney to represent you. You want a lawyer?
Yeah, sir, I didn't get to hear everything that you said. The girls were passing by.
Okay. I'm going to find for this morning that there's no probable cause for the charge, either charge.
Okay.
The reason I'm doing that is because the trooper that arrested you did not, I don't know if he field tested the pipe or the drugs, but he didn't put that in the probable cause affidavit. What I'm telling you is that's not necessarily the best news in the world for you, because they're going to field test, or they're going to test the pipe and the drugs before you get to court again, and they're going to know whether or not it's meth. So you're getting out on your own recognizance today, but you should contact the public defender right away, especially if you know that it's methamphetamine, and I'm not asking you to tell me that. You should contact them as soon as you get out so they can start working on your case, all right?
Okay, so I'll be given a public defender before
I've appointed the public defender right now. You're back on the 4th of September in court, and as soon as you get out, you should contact the PD's office, okay?
Yes, sir, thank you.
Ken Anderson? Morning, Mr. Anderson. What's your date of birth?
6/25/87.
All right, Ken, first thing I have for you is a warrant signed by Judge Rupi. She found probable cause for one count of grand theft auto. Then I have possession of methamphetamine, possession of marijuana, possession of drug paraphernalia, and providing false name to a law enforcement officer. And then another count of possession of methamphetamine and introduction of contraband into a detention facility. There's probable cause for all of those charges. As to those charges, would you like to represent yourself? You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like me to appoint the public defender?
Public defender, sir.
I'll appoint the PD, Steve.
Working backwards from 2017 out of Sumter County, got a criminal registration. Dealing with a violation of probation. And I'm guessing that would be for possession of meth. Some prior paraphernalia. prescription. Times 2. Times 3 back in 2015 now. Paraphernalia. 2014 paraphernalia just dropped. Shows us that prescription, which is conviction 2015. Shows us that prescription 2015. Possession of cannabis, misdemeanor. Conviction. Introduction of contraband again, 2014. A lot of contraband, Judge.
Got that. Shan, where you been staying lately? Where do you live?
Whippoorwill Street.
Say it again.
Whippoorwill Street.
Okay. You got an address?
9394 Whippoorwill Street, Wichita, Florida.
How long have you been there?
It's 10 years.
You have a job these days?
No, sir.
Okay. I'm going to leave the bond on Judge Ruby's warrant at $2,000. The first set of charges, the meth, the marijuana, the paraphernalia, the false name, I'll leave those per the schedule. That's $5,000, $1,000, $1,000, and $1,000 respectively. And then on the meth and the intro, I'll leave those. So that's a total of $20,000 if I did the math right. They'll all be coming back on the 4th of September. If you're able to get out, you should contact the public defender right away. Otherwise, they'll come see you at the jail before court, okay? Thank you.
Sir.
Marshal Valesky.
Morning, sir.
Morning, sir. What's your date of birth?
9386.
Marshal, you're hearing a warrant signed by Judge Merritt. He found probable cause for a violation of probation. As to that charge, you want to represent yourself? You want to hire private counsel? Would you like the public defender?
Public defender, sir.
I'll appoint the PD. Bond on that warrant is no bond. I can't change that. I'll send you back to see Judge Merritt on the 4th of September. Public defender will come see you before then, okay?
All right, is there any way I can get Mr. Kane again?
No, unfortunately. Mr. Kane has moved on to greener pastures, so he's not with us anymore.
Okay, thank you,
You
sir.
bet. Zachary McLean. Morning, Zachary. What's your date of birth?
12/9/94.
Zachary, you're hearing a warrant I signed. Apparently you failed to appear in my court on a charge of no valid driver's license. State, can you resolve this morning?
One moment, Judge. Excuse me? Time served, Judge.
Yeah, that's what I figured. Zachary, you want to resolve this case today with time served? That means you could plead no contest. I would sentence you to 1 day in the county jail, which you've already done. I would assess the fine and court cost, which is $438, and you just have to stop by the clerk's office here in Brooksville to set up a payment plan for that, and then this case is over with.
Yes, sir.
Very good. You understand by entering a plea, you give up the right to have a trial by jury, the right to confront the witnesses against you, the right to remain silent, the right to have a lawyer represent you, but you are willing to give up those rights so that we can resolve this case today.
Yes, sir.
Case number 17-CT-332 has the charge that you operated a motor vehicle without a valid Florida driver's license. How do you wish to plead? You may plead no contest.
No contest.
I'll accept that plea. I'll find that it's freely and voluntarily made. I'll adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to 1 day in the county jail, credit 1 day served. Fine and court cost is $438, $50 for the night in jail, but that takes care of it. If there's nothing else keeping you in the jail, you will be released today, all right?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Good luck. Curtis Narrison.
Morning, Your Honor.
Morning, sir. Date of birth?
7/23/96.
Curtis, you're hearing a warrant signed by Judge Merritt. He found probable cause for 1 count of battery being domestic in nature. As to that charge, you wish to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like me to appoint the public defender?
I'll be appointed a public defender, but if I might say, my brother was supposed to be in the courtroom this morning to drop charges because it was between me and him.
Okay, well, here are two things. First of all, one, there's nobody's brother in the courtroom at the moment, so there's that. The second thing is, as you're going to hear in a minute, it's not his decision to drop the charges. They always can go and ask to have the charges dropped, but just because they ask doesn't mean it happens. So,
Yes, sir.
all right. So I'll appoint the public defender, Steve.
Sure,
Yes, sir.
Hang on.
DV strangulation 2016, which was dropped, and a juvenile arrest on DV in 2017, which was dropped. That's all I can confirm this morning, Your Honor.
All right. And Kurt, second address for you on Fullington Road in Brooksville. Is that where you live?
I live 9157 Carter Road.
Okay. How long have you been there?
Roughly 2 years.
You have a job these days?
Yes, sir.
What do you do?
I'm a tree climber.
Okay. I'm going to set your bond at $500. Condition of the bond is that you have no contact with Tyler Reno until this case is resolved. No contact means no contact of any kind. You don't call, you don't write, you don't email, you don't text message, you don't contact him through any social media. You don't have a third person contact him. You don't go where he lives. You don't go where he works. You don't have any contact of any kind. Any way that you might imagine contacting him, I forbid you to do that. If you have contact and we find out about it, your bond can be revoked and you can be held without bond until the charges are resolved. It means no contact even if you want the contact, so if you answer your phone and hear his voice, you should hang up. If you're out and about and see him, you should turn around and run the other way. You need to understand that he cannot drop the charges against you. That's not a decision he gets to make. He might go to the state attorney's office and ask that that happen, but that decision belongs solely to the assistant state attorney handling your case. So unless that person or the judge on your case tells you the charges are dropped, you should assume they're not dropped and you should not have contact. I'm going to have you back in court on the 5th of September. Very important that you contact the public defender when you get out, all right?
Awesome. Thank you.
You bet. And Bren Paulson. All right. And Mr. Paulson, it looks like you've got a DOC hold. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, we're going to go through all these warrants here in a second. Are you going to want the public defender on these cases?
Yes, please.
Very good. I'm going to appoint the public defender in all of Mr. Paulson's cases. The first is a warrant signed by Judge Heinemann. Contains two charges: stealing and stolen property, falsification of ownership to a pawnbroker. The second one is a warrant also signed by Judge Heinemann, same two charges. The third is a warrant signed by Judge Heinemann, same two charges. The fourth, warrant signed by Judge Heinemann, same two charges. And the fifth is also Judge Heinemann, same two charges. Sixth is signed by Judge Heinemann, same two charges. Seventh warrant, signed by Judge Heinemann, same two charges. And the eighth one is signed by Judge Heinemann, same two charges. That should be $56,000. Not that that matters because you got the DOC hold. I'll have all of these back then on the 4th of September, and the public defender will come see you before then, all right?
Thank you.
Thank you.